Hello to all fans of interesting movies. This is a film from 2019 called White as Snow, a fairy tale for adults.
I slept with another man,
She says. You won't come to me after every meeting, will you? The first part of the film tells the story of a girl named Claire. After her father's death, the owner of a hotel business, Claire remains with her stepmother, who inherited the entire business from her father. One early morning, the girl goes for a run. She becomes a victim of a kidnapper. The criminal pushes Claire into the trunk and flees the scene. While driving along a forest road, the kidnapper tries to avoid a sudden appearance of a wild boar on the road and crashes into a tree. Thanks to this, Claire manages to escape from the trunk. She runs through the forest, but at some point loses her orientation and doesn't know where to go next. At that moment, Claire stops, and her kidnapper catches up with her. She points a gun at Claire and asks her to close her eyes. Everything will happen very quickly. Then a shot is fired. When Claire comes to her senses, she finds herself in an unfamiliar house. A man enters the room with breakfast. According to Pierre, he was going to hunt wild boars in a forest, but instead, he accidentally shot a woman. He believes that Claire might have done something wrong, otherwise someone wouldn't have tried to kill her. The girl suggests calling the police. But Pierre doesn't want to risk his freedom. Leaving the room, Pierre returns Claire's clothes, replacing them. While she was unconscious, Pierre undressed her and washed her clothes. Claire dresses up and explores the house. She meets another man, a cellist named Vincent. Listening to the music played by Vincent, Claire falls asleep, but she is awakened by Francois, Pierre's twin brother. They're identical, except that Francois stutters heavily, unlike his brother. Pierre asks Claire to leave the house, because those who wanted to kill her will likely search for her. And sooner or later, they will reach this house, and he has no desire to meet them. The girl tries to persuade Pierre to stay here since he saved her. Pierre himself understands that it's illogical, but then he yells at Claire and receives an answer from her. Pierre grabs her butt, then lets her go. Returning, the guy kisses the girl, and Claire doesn't resist at all. In the morning, Claire leaves the house and meets Vincent with his dog. The twins work at the sawmill, and the girl doesn't want to stay alone in the house, so she asks to accompany Vincent to the vet. On the way back, Vincent suggests the girl visit a bar. There, Claire tells him that she used to play the violin in her childhood, but gave it up after an accident in which her mother died. Upon returning home, Vincent gives her a violin, sincerely believing that she shouldn't give up on music. At that moment, Pierre appears, unhappy that Claire went with Vincent. Now that the whole town knows there is a girl living in their house, the chances of her being found are only increasing. In the morning, looking out the window of her room, Claire notices Pierre chopping wood.
Should I leave?
After they got closer to each other, Pierre starts kissing the girl. They start making love. Late at night, in her bed, Claire hears the sound of the television. Going downstairs, she sits next to Pierre on the couch and starts caressing his leg with her own. After their intimate encounter, they both feel thirsty, and Pierre, stuttering, asks for something to drink. Francois, she asks. Claire realizes that it's not Pierre, but his twin brother, Francois. He realized he shouldn't have done, but he couldn't resist. His behavior brings a smile to the girl's face. The next day, Claire decides to get a job at a local bar to avoid being a burden to the twins. When she returns home, she tries to call her stepmother. But as soon as she mentions her name, they hang up immediately on the other end of the line. The second part of the film takes us back exactly a week ago to the events that happened. Claire's stepmother, Mott, observes from the window how her lover, Bernard, helps Claire pick up a drop towel. When Bernard enters Mott's room, she suggests that they no longer hide their relationship from others, as her husband is no longer alive. But they need to take a break in their relationship so that their feelings don't fade even more. Bernard agrees. After Mott leaves, he calls Claire and confesses his love to her. Mott overhears this conversation and, unwilling to accept it, agrees to have Claire eliminated. Sometime later, the couple has lunch in a restaurant. Bernard asks where Claire disappeared as he hasn't seen her for several days. Mott reassures him and explains that it's not the first time. Claire used to disappear for several days before. At that moment, Claire calls Mott's phone. Mott immediately hangs up the phone. In the bar where Claire got a job, all the visitors pay attention to her. The local librarian named Charles, whom Claire met when she went with Vincent to the vet, brings his son Clayman to introduce him to the girl. And the veterinarian, Sam, doesn't lag behind the others, showing attention to Claire. He invites her to spend the evening in the club where a guy starts bothering her. Sam can't stand up for her, but Clayman does it for her, knocking the harasser out with a single blow. He did it to impress you. On the way home, Claire realizes that she used to consider Sam strong, but he turned out to be vulnerable, and unexpectedly for herself, she is even glad about it. Turning off to the side of the road, the veterinarian stops the car and asks Claire to repeat her words again. Claire expresses her attraction to Sam and cautiously touches his hand. Then she sits on top of him. A crowd of squirrels watches this couple. In the morning, Maud arrives in the town. Spotting Claire, she enters the library where she meets Charles. Charles admires the beauty of the woman. He informs her that over the past week, the town has seen 2 new arrivals, Mott and another young girl who recently moved here. Charles advises Mott to visit the church where there are guest rooms to stay for a while. After meeting with the pastor, Mott talks about her stepdaughter who disappeared a few days ago, and she might have settled in this town. Upon learning the girl's name, the pastor says he knows her. Mott asks that nobody says anything about her being found, otherwise Claire will run away again. According to Mott, the girl is upset with her because she didn't pay enough attention to her after her father's death. The pastor offers to mediate and reconcile the girl with her stepmother. In the morning, during her run, Claire meets Clayman. The boy impresses the girl. In general, it feels like there are no men in this town whom she doesn't like. Clayman is very shy but still tries to hug Claire and accidentally falls to the ground. After getting up, Clayman runs away. Claire goes to the church and tells the pastor about her relationships with several men. According to Pierre, they are all local guys who excite her. The pastor says there is a person in the church who wants reconciliation with Claire and takes her to Mota. Seeing her stepmother, Claire rushes into her arms. According to Mott, she managed to find the girl because Claire called her, but the connection unexpectedly got cut off. Using the phone number, they managed to trace the call's origin. After telling the boy the details of that day, Claire expresses her desire to stay in this town, where she has made many new friends. Mott doesn't object. She will also stay here for a few days and try to persuade Claire to come back home. The girl needs to go to work, and Mott offers to give her a ride to the town. On the way, Mott unexpectedly stops at the edge of a cliff, pretending that his tire is flat. The stepmother asks Claire to check what happened to the wheel. Mott plans to sneak up on the girl and push her off the cliff. Suddenly, the pastor arrives on a motorcycle. After making sure everything's fine, the couple continues their way. Because of the unnecessary witness, the plan fails. So Mott suggests driving Claire to the town and meeting there on the nearest weekend. Unaware, Claire agrees to the proposal. Charles approaches the girl in the bar. He tells her that his son Clayman has closed himself off from him and refuses to talk. Charles asks Claire to go and talk to the boy to make him change his behavior towards his father, to which she agrees since Clayman likes this girl. After work, Claire visits Clayman and tells him that she loves him, after which they kiss. Coming down to the library, the girl tells Charles that everything is fine. Sunday comes and Claire goes on a picnic with Mo. Mott offers Claire an apple laced with poison. When Claire is about to take a bite in the clearing, Clayman appears. The girl invites the boy to join them and also offers him the apple. Mott grabs the fruit, saying that she doesn't know this boy at all. Clayman apologizes and leaves. Claire puts the apple aside and goes after the boy, with whom she later has intercourse in the woods under the rain. With the onset of the night, Mott arrives in the town where the dance is taking place. She watches Claire, who dances with different boys. The stepmother orders 2 glasses of wine, adding a substance to one of them. However, she fails to carry out her plan as Clayman accidentally knocks one of the glasses out of her hand. Clayman tells Claire that he did it on purpose because Mott had a cold look at her. Mott decides to influence Claire differently and starts pulling her to make her feel unwell. Then she takes her to the car, offering to drive her home. On the way, Mott confesses to Claire that she was in love only once, but this love was stolen from her by a girl. Arriving at the edge of the cliff and making sure Claire doesn't move, Mott drives away. The stepmother stops by the church to light a candle, but accidentally sets herself on fire. Claire manages to survive. She lies on a hospital bed surrounded by 7 men who love her. Each of them comes forward and kisses the girl. After that, Claire regains consciousness. The movie ends on this note. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe.